This course is brought to you by USAA. We would like to thank USAA for their generosity in making this course possible.
Welcome to Portable Mindful Strategies for Self-Care, the Mantram Repetition Series, and this is session 3 of 4. Today we'll talk about Mantram repetition and one-pointed attention. And I am your narrator, Dr. Jill Borman. In this session, the objectives are to identify ways to use a mantram to improve your concentration and do one thing at a time. We'll also demonstrate how one-pointed attention and slowing down complement each other for making healthy choices. And we'll describe at least 2 benefits of one-pointed attention versus multitasking for stress reduction or symptom management. And all of these objectives can relate to caregiver burden or caregiver stress. So the first concept has to do with multitasking, and our culture values doing more in less time. Well, let me tell you that it's a myth that multitasking saves time. It's a complete myth. Although we feel like we're getting a lot done, in essence, there's a lot that's being undone or not done well when we multitask. According to research on multitasking, doing more than one thing actually takes longer. And the reason for that is what scientists call switch time. It's the time it takes for the brain to go from processing one task to another. Multitasking also uses more energy and contributes to more mistakes. And in a study that was conducted at the University of Irvine, a group of people who claimed to be multitaskers were compared to a group of people who did not claim to be multitaskers. Scientists found that those people who thought they were such great multitaskers were actually just mediocre. They were no better than those who did not claim to be a multitasker and could do one thing at a time. So the concept of one-pointed attention is really the opposite of multitasking. You could call it monotasking, and that's doing one thing at a time as well as thinking about one thing at a time. When we do that, when we practice one thing at a time and give it our full, undivided attention, it can actually conserve our energy and it can enhance in quality of life. When you repeat your mantram, you must do it with concentrated focus, and that requires one-pointed attention. Have you ever wondered about the definition of boredom? How is it that people get bored? Well, usually, if you're bored, it's because you wish you were someplace else. You wish you were doing something else, you're not fully present in the moment, or if you are, you just don't like what it is you're doing. Boredom is having divided attention. So in this program, there are really 2 types of one-pointedness that we want to emphasize. The first is internal. Silently repeating the mantram requires an internally focused, one-pointed attention. You then can take that ability to concentrate and ability to focus and apply it externally by giving your full attention on any chosen task at hand. With both internally and externally, you're using the same focusing skill. And that's why it's so important to practice your mantram repetition all day long, in between little snippets of time, while waiting, while walking, to practice training attention so that when you want to bring it to another task, you can do so. So this is why practice works. That by bringing your full attention to mantram repetition, you can then transfer that full attention to any other task at hand. And so that when your mind wanders, you want to bring your attention back to the task, as if redirecting attention to the mantram. This can be extremely helpful in caregiving when doing tasks that might be difficult or stressful. Bringing your full mind and your full attention just to the task at hand can help you manage it better. So here again is an example of the importance of training attention. So you might focus your attention on one particular task, and then all of a sudden you think of lunch. or you think of other deadlines, or your mind wanders off into other places that aren't helpful. When you notice that, when you notice your attention moves away from the task at hand, that's your opportunity to refocus and become more one-pointed. Sometimes you can use the Mantram to help you make that transition, but that's one of the ways to practice being one-pointed. This can also be applied when dealing with obsessive thoughts or ruminating, worrying thoughts. You can refocus your attention and give your attention to the task at hand and less on the ruminating, worrying thoughts. Whatever it is you give your attention to, it tends to get bigger. If you withdraw your attention from ruminating or worrying thoughts, those thoughts will begin to subside. So here are some examples of practice experiments. The first one is to bring your full attention whenever you're listening to others. See if you can refrain from finishing other people's sentences. Stay focused on what they're saying without trying to think of what you're going to say next. The second experiment is to choose a task that you have been procrastinating. Choose something that you tend to put off and instead set the timer for just 30 minutes. Tell yourself, I'm just going to do this for 30 minutes. I may not finish, but with my undivided attention, I'm going to do this one-pointed attention project. Stick with it. Notice your distractions and notice your self-talk. This is a great way to practice one-pointedness. Similarly, you can do a caregiver experiment, and that's bring your full attention to whatever caregiving task you are doing. Notice your thoughts, your judgments, your feelings about doing that caregiving task. And when your mind wanders, use Mantram, repetition, to bring you back to the present moment, to stay focused on only what you are doing. The goal of these experiments is to experience what it feels like to just focus on only one thing at a time with undivided attention. Doing so brings a quality to your life that is hard to describe. So the homework for this session is to do a one-pointed attention project. Pick some activity in your life that you have been procrastinating, one that you dread, one that you think is particularly hard to do. Set the timer and give yourself 30 minutes to try it out. Use one-pointed attention with all communications with your patients, colleagues, families, friends. Everyone you come in contact with, just be one-pointed and present with them. Practice being one-pointed with every task, and notice how slowing down and one-pointedness complement each other. Meanwhile, keep using your Mantram. Keep repeating your Mantram as much as possible. And finally, as we come to the close of this session, practice, practice, practice is the key. Using your Mantram as much as possible when you don't need it will help you so your Mantram will be there when you do need it. So for more information, you can check out www.jillborman.com or www.eshwarren.org, and you can find more resources to supplement your learning.